everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Sarah and today I'm going to be talking about the 10 things I wish I knew before taking a gap year. The first 5 things I'm going to be talking about are the more negative side of taking a gap year, and the last 5 things I'm going to be talking about are the positives for taking a gap year. The first thing I wish I knew about taking a gap year is that a lot of the concepts that I learned in high school, especially in the sciences, were taught in my introductory courses. And I remembered learning them in high school, but I could not for the life of me remember the details. And it was so frustrating to know if I hadn't taken a gap year, I would have had a bit of an advantage. I'm not sure if this is true for other people, but I had a pretty difficult time with the age difference. Being 2 years older than some of my peers is kind of strange. There are 17, 18-year-olds, and I was 19 turning 20. So I had a bit of a difficult time. Where I go to school, the drinking age is 19, so it was kind of annoying not being able to go out with people because they were minors, they weren't able to. And also I felt like I'd done so much growing while I was on my gap year and traveling abroad. And I had a really difficult time connecting with people who were still 17, fresh out of high school. So that made it kind of difficult to meet people, for me personally. When you take a year off from studying, you definitely lose a lot of your habits. That routine, being caught up on homework, all of your study tips and tricks. But the good thing about that one is that once you start to get back into a routine, you rebuild those study strategies and habits up again. If you decide to go abroad, you will meet some of the most amazing people you've ever met in your life, and some of them you will never talk to again. And it takes a piece of your heart out every single time. And it's so tough having cool memories with people and you've just lost touch with them. It's a strange feeling. Another thing to consider when you're thinking about taking a gap year is how quickly you want to graduate and get into the workforce. It wasn't as big of a concern for me. I was okay with taking extra time and not graduating with some of my friends, but that might not be the case for you, and that's definitely something to consider. Alright, enough with being a downer. I'm going to talk about some of the awesome things that I didn't know before I took my gap year. Taking a break from studying is amazing. You've just spent 12 years of your life in school, and taking that 1 year off to do whatever you want, whether that's work or travel or spend more time with your family or friends, whatever you want to do. It definitely gave me a little bit of a reset, a breath of fresh air before starting university. Another great thing about taking a gap year is that it gives you time to figure out what direction you want to go in life. Sometimes if you go directly into university without taking some time off to figure yourself out and let yourself grow, you might end up in a major or a program that you actually don't like very much, and then you have to navigate that while still taking courses and trying to figure it out, and having already poured so much money into it, and that can be kind of stressful. So the nice thing about taking a gap year is that it gives you that extra space to breathe and consider exactly what it is you want to study. One thing that I actually learned about taking a gap year that I didn't know until I started school was that it's never too late to start. I thought that I would be a little bit behind since all of my classmates were already going to be a year younger than me and all the people my age were going to be so far ahead already. But I've met people in my classes who are in their late 20s or 30s even, and they're still studying. Maybe they were on a career path that they didn't love, or they found a new passion. It's never too late to go back to school. Whether you took 1 gap year or you're on your 6th gap year and you feel like it's too late for you, it's not. It's never too late to start learning again. Nobody's going to judge you for being an older student. It's really brave and quite admirable to go back to school knowing that everybody's going to be younger than you, but having that desire and that passion for learning. My last 2 things are going to be about traveling, because that's what I did on my gap year. You experience so much personal growth in such a short amount of time when you're traveling abroad by yourself, and it's because you have no other choice. I had never lived away from home before. I had flown a couple of times by myself, but only 1-hour flights, nothing huge. I traveled for 30 hours straight with all of my flights and connections when I was headed to Australia. Being alone in a foreign place forces you out of your comfort zone. It forces you to talk to people. It forces you to learn how to look after yourself. And I didn't know how difficult that was going to be, but I also didn't know how rewarding it would be. It helped me grow. I learned so much about myself that I never would have discovered if I hadn't traveled so far away by myself so young. The last thing that I'll mention about taking a gap year and traveling is that you get to hear so many points of view from people from all over the world that you never would have heard if you just stayed at home. For example, I learned that it's a very North American thing to call tissues Kleenex. I didn't know that that was a weird quirk until my friend Debbie pointed it out, and it was pretty funny. I also get to introduce Thanksgiving to some of my European friends who had never had one before. My friend Lauren is American and I'm Canadian, so in November we got a group of people from the hostel together and we made an American Thanksgiving dinner, and it was kind of makeshift because Australians don't do Thanksgiving, so we had a roast chicken instead of a turkey, and the stuffing was a little bit weird, but it was a lot of fun to be able to introduce that to them. I also learned that they don't celebrate Halloween in a lot of places in Europe, at least not as much as we do in North America. So everyone from my hostel got together and went on a Halloween party boat cruise around the Sydney Harbour, and it was so much fun to see everyone all dressed up, and some of them had never dressed up for Halloween before. Along with seeing the world through a different lens, you also get to meet some of the most amazing people and create lifelong bonds that even though you're now thousands of kilometers apart, you're still so close to that person and you hold them so dear to your heart. I have a couple specific people in mind when I say that, and I won't name them, but if you're watching this, you know who you are, and I miss you so much, and I can't wait to see you again. I won't go on too much of a tangent here, but just another side note with that. Meeting friends from across the world gives you a good excuse to travel more often, which isn't a bad thing at all. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you all more than you could possibly know. Let me know if you have any questions about taking a gap year down in the comments below. And if you took a gap year, let me know in the comments what your experience was like and any other things that you wish you would have known before you decided to take a gap year. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you guys next week.